Who is Luke Manton?
Oosh. So, I went to like an awful school. I lived on a council estate. There was 8 of us in a 3-bedroom house. My CV would get me in the door, like an application would get me in the door, but the minute they met me, it was like, no. Tourettes, fuck off. Makes you want to completely hide and just give up and not have anyone look at you, but is the reason people will literally notice you and look at you. On that day, I'd got home and I then took an overdose and just tried to end my own life because I thought I've got no way of getting out of this. Fucking hell. So I made this video, posted it on LinkedIn, and I have been fully booked ever since. I'll be open and honest about running a company. Like, I didn't know what the fuck I was doing. And it is stressful and it is shit sometimes, but you just gotta do what you gotta do. Someone's gonna massively fuck up their career taking my advice.
Hello.
Hi,
Luke. Nice to have you on the podcast. Thanks for being one of our guests.
Thank you for having me.
Let's get straight into it. Who is Luke Manton?
So, Luke Manton is a 30-year-old business owner. I'm actually 31. I don't know why I said 30.
I genuinely thought you were younger. You look younger.
I'll take that.
You do.
Filler, Botox, and a good skincare routine. So 31, and I own Manton Executives, a virtual PA and marketing agency in Cheltenham.
Mm-hmm. And for anyone who doesn't know, like we used to work together a little bit.
We did.
Were amazing in the launch of my business, and
thank you.
It definitely needed some help. That was a one.
You were very busy.
Yes, I wasn't busy. I was overwhelmed. I think is the right word. Drowning. So yeah, let's go back to before we get into the business side of things, because I'd love to explore that and like the journey of growing and scaling your business and how you found that. But let's go back to kind of childhood.
Oh, joy.
Yeah, what joy. Yeah, tell me, what was it like growing up?
So I think I have had a very different childhood, fucking hell, from what people expect that I had, because now I think I lead a probably very busy middle-class lifestyle now. But back then it was very different. So I didn't have the Tourettes, Tourette's issue as a kid, because this didn't start till my mid-20s, but fuck off. I went to like an awful school. I lived on a council estate. There was 8 of us in a 3-bedroom house. So you can imagine how busy that would have been. Like, my family never had any money, kind of that thing. And funnily enough, I remember from then, the one thing that always stuck in my head was I want so much more than this. We spoke a lot about like cycle breaking with people before, and like I knew right from the start, even from like so young, that was like gonna be me. Me. I thought I am not living this life longer than I have to. But yeah, like I'll probably say I'm not one of these people that look back on childhood thinking, I'd love to do that again. I'd love to go back, and absolutely not.
Like, reminisce.
It's like in stressful,
the past,
traumatic, leave it behind. And I kind of like when you're from that type of fat family, there's things you can't avoid, like the hand-me-down clothes that are always looking a bit rough, kind of thing. So then that in turn with kids, and kids can kids can be little shits. Like, I got bullied so badly at school the whole way through. So I hated school the second I got to leave at 16. So back when you didn't have to stay till 18, second I got to leave at 16, I was like, I am gone. I'm going to go to work. I don't want to go to college. I don't want to go to uni. Like, put me off that much. And yeah, so in a nutshell, that's my wanky childhood story.
Kind of education at 16. What happened after that?
So I had no idea what I wanted to do. Absolutely none. But I was surprisingly good at like blagging my way into things.
Okay.
So I got talked my way into getting a job at a hotel. And I worked on reception. You were supposed to be 18 to do this job at the time. Right. And like, I've always looked younger. So when I was 16, I probably looked, I was about 12. Oh, fucking hell. Not helped by the fact I am like tall, and I'm pretty sure the reception desk came to about here in that hotel. Oh, fucking hell. But I kind of was just doing that for a while. Never was going to be anything permanent, but I was constantly thinking like, where am I going next? What am I doing next? Like, how am I going to get out of this? I made a few friends in the like hotel industry. They were always like popping to and from, like sharing different bits of like equipment and stuff. And then eventually at 18, that led to getting a job at like a 5-star hotel in Cheltenham. I think I was there for 3 months, and then I blagged my way into an event manager position.
Okay.
I had never managed an event.
How old were you at this point?
18.
18, and you were in
18
a managerial position.
Yeah, and that was my first job in management, planning weddings for a hotel, and I had never planned an event in my entire life.
Were you good at it?
Initially, absolutely not. But I think that they'd had such a rough ride with who was in it before that I don't think they give a shit. But I ended up staying in that job for a fair few years.
Okay.
And then that was kind of it. I was like set in the events industry. And yeah, I'd always, from then on, I'd gone from management position to management position. Never had any management training. I was kind of just winging it. Looking back on myself now as a manager, there are so many ways that I would have changed that. I was under the impression back then that like you had to be like direct and bossy and professional. Like, it's so cringy to think when I was like 18, 19, I would think absolutely nothing of shouting at like a 30-year-old on my team for like having their phone out. Like stuff like that.
Yeah.
So insane. Cringe.
So obviously now in a managerial position, how are you different? What kind of approach do you take?
The general overview of the approach is just not to be a massive twat. Like,
that's good advice. That is best advice I've had so far on this podcast.
Because I can look back and it's so fuck off. It's so cringy how I used to be, and so like corporate and just it's just not my vibe whatsoever. Now I'm 100% like roll the sleeves up, get involved. Like, I would never ask anyone to do anything that I wouldn't do myself. Back then I was like, as if I would be taking a bin out, do you know what I mean? Can somebody else do that kind of thing? Like, what a knob, come on. But yeah, like now it's just like I'm kind of like in my team with everybody else. Like, and I know that sounds cringy and cliche, but it's just how it works, and it's just the vibe I want. Like, I want it to be chill, and I want people to be able to be open and like be able to talk. And I know a load of people say, you can't be friends with your team, but I think that's bollocks as well, because like I see all of my team outside work. We all go for like drinks, we'll do movie nights, like
there's that phrase like the company's like a family, and it comes up a lot. I see a lot of posts about it, and people are like, you know, your team are not like your family. If you treat your team like your family, then you're doing something wrong. You're a shit boss, you're a shit leader, you're a shit up life.
You may as well quit, give up.
What's your opinion on that? Like, do you agree, disagree?
I can see both sides of it. I get why people would disagree. And I think in certain job roles, you probably need to distance yourself a bit. In the job role I have and in the company that I have, it works fine. I see my team more than I see my family, probably. Like, we work together every single day. We talk every single day, even on the weekends. And we get on well. So it is kind of like we have made our own little family. We all know what's going on with each other's lives. We all know each other's like partners. We'll do group things where we'll go out together, and so for us it's kind of like relevant. But I guess if you don't not like if you don't get on with your fuck off balls, you don't get on with your team, but like, do you know what I mean? Like, I know some people just don't have that relationship and they want the boundaries, whereas for me so far, and who knows, I might learn my lesson in a few years, but for me so far, not having those boundaries has worked perfectly. We're still in a position where if they think I'm doing something that's irritating, they'll tell me, and like what is. And we do occasionally bicker between us, but
I think it also helps, like if you've got a smaller team, you can kind of get that community feel. I can imagine if you had 20, 30, 40 people in your team, you're not going to have that intimate relationship with everyone in your team, and that's where it could become cliquey, and you kind of need to set boundaries to make it fair.
That's it, because if I say had another 15 staff.
Yeah.
Like, I'm not going to keep my core 5 just coming to my house with their partners.
Exactly.
With
Then
everyone
you would be a
else.
twat.
Yeah. Then I'll be back to being that asshole manager again.
Nice. Before, because I want to explore
Fucking
like the business side of stuff and your kind of journey as an entrepreneur.
Fuck off.
I hate that word, entrepreneur, but yeah,
It's cringy.
it's a bit cringy, isn't it? I prefer founder, I think, or just somebody
that's more
doing.
my vibe.
I just do shit. Which what do you do? I just do bits and bobs for people. I just a vibe.
I'm just chilling. I wish I was just chilling.
Yeah, I wish I was just. But going back a little bit, when did you discover you had Tourette's, and what was that kind of journey like for you?
So by this point, like career-wise, I was working for like a big corporate dental.
Yeah.
So I had my own practice based in Cheltenham that I was managing. I was overseeing another practice in Gloucester, so the next town. Again, this is a job role I was absolutely not qualified to do. But
kind of a jump from the hotel.
Oh yeah, I was like, I'll go from event management to managing a practice. I was like, how hard can it be? My original justification for wanting to make that change was hours. Working in events, you can pretty much write off, fuck off, every evening and weekend throughout, like from probably like March to September.
Right,
you would be
okay,
working.
okay.
So I kind of wanted to make the change to something more Monday to Friday.
Yeah.
And yeah, so I got this corporate role. They were then looking for someone to take over marketing, like nationally.
Yeah.
And I was like, I can do that.
Of course you can.
Categorically could not fucking do that. But fuck off. Bollocks. Yeah, so I was just ended up with this weird hybrid job role at this dental company. And I fell for that corporate life like hook, line and sinker at the time. I was like, this is such a vibe. Like, because it had always been kind of like me in these condensed events jobs on odd hours. I'm like, now I'm suddenly being invited to just like a coffee at like midday to just chat about, like finances and shit like that. And I was completely in on it. And I'd always kind of like had to wear like quite crappy clothes when you're like setting up events and things. And now I'm like suddenly having to wear like a suit and stuff like this to work, and it was just a weird change for me. But I was kind of enjoying it. But during this like period, it was like a stressful job, mostly because I didn't have a clue what I was doing initially. But I was getting like headaches like constantly, and I was like, did that typical thing and be like, oh, let's be fine, it'll go. And they kind of steadily got worse, and then it was getting to the point where I was having like pretty much like a nosebleed like every day, and I was like, it'll be fine.
It's fine.
It stops. I'm busy. Yeah, and then it got to the point where I had a seizure just completely randomly at home out the blue. After that, I could not keep my head still. I couldn't talk.
Wow.
Anything. It was completely random. And yeah, brain scans turned out that there was like a growth in my brain, and my brain had swelled around it, which is what caused the issue. Ended up causing damage to my brain, which left me with, at the time they just said like tics and like something else. So to start with, there was no mention of Tourette's. I had steadily got talking again. I had no vocal tics at this point. But I had a stammer, and it was so bad. Every single word, it would take me so long to get a fucking sentence out. It was infuriating. Looking back on it now, it's probably the most irritating part of the whole situation. And I think from that initial like stage, it wasn't until about like 2 months after that like vocal tics started. Which was completely random, because the way I explain it is like, it's like I'm hearing somebody else say it. Like, it's not the same sensation as thinking of fuck you bollocks, of thinking something and then saying it. It's like you're hearing me say it, for example. Like there's no, like, I don't move my mouth that way to say it. I don't think of what's coming out. Like I am as surprised by what I say as everybody else. So it was like a weird thing for me to get used to. And I was suddenly like, what the fuck? Like, how is this like a thing?
How old were you at this point?
I think 26.
Wow. Okay. So
I'd had like a whole normal life before this, and then suddenly I can't talk and all of this weird shit. But yeah, it was just it was like a really, really odd time, and it's hard to think about how I felt then because there was just so much going on. I think I probably now just like shut that off, and I'm like, we'll ignore that part.
Yeah.
But like to get a Tourette's diagnosis, you need the selection of tics every day for 12 months.
Okay.
Which is such a weird, old school, backwards way of doing it, but that's just the process. So until you have that, you essentially have no protection around having a disability because it's just tics. And I was still holding out hope that because it wasn't anything like Tourette's, which is a permanent neurological condition, that it was going to be like reversible or it would just go. Naturally, that did not happen. But yeah, completely changed my life. I was like a shell of myself after this. I used to be absolutely fuming because I was like, then I tried to go back to work, did not work out well for me. I was like invited to leave, as they said it. But I used to be so angry about that, but now I can completely see why. It wasn't necessarily the tics, for example. It was like the attitude. I hated being outside. I hated being around people. I was then quiet. I was like depressed. I was down. Like one of my team could have set the practice on fire and I probably would have been like, oh well, someone else can deal with it. Like I completely just shut off from everything. And then, from then I just cut ties with pretty much everything. Didn't go out, didn't do anything.
Was that mainly a confidence thing? Was it out of frustration?
I think it was like a combination of everything. I don't think I've ever been so... Like, it's a weird thing to describe. I absolutely hated myself at the time because there was something I couldn't fix. It had cost me my career, which to me was such a big deal because I'd worked so hard to get out of that lifestyle that I had as a kid.
Cycle,
and I just thought, I've just absolutely fucked it, and now I'm going to be... stuck doing this, and there was no help whatsoever to like get work or to get out of it or like therapy or whatever. And obviously the NHS is so overstretched as it is just because someone in their mid-20s has a few tics and no confidence, like you're not exactly high on the priority list, you know what I mean? But I just kind of like shut off from all of it, and I hated absolutely everything. I was so depressed. God knows how George managed to put up with me throughout the time because I couldn't stand being around anyone. I would cry constantly. I was like an absolute mess. I did decide eventually, like I was like, I need to get back into like work. So I applied for anything and everything, and my CV would get me in the door, like an application would get me in the door. But the minute they met me, it was like, no. Oh, fucking hell. Because like today's quite a good tick day, but like on these days when it was like bad and I had no way of like even remotely controlling anything, it was probably every other way. Fucking hell. And I say like companies will preach for equality and diversity until I'm telling their clients to fuck off. Do you know what I mean? But it was like hit after hit, and now I was kind of stuck in this position where I had no income, no job, no like career, zero confidence, and I was a fucking mess, to be fair. And I think like it got so bad. I was trying to like explain to people before like how bad it makes you feel. Like Tourette's, fuck off, makes you want to completely hide and just give up and not have anyone look at you, but is the reason people will literally notice you and look at you. I even stopped going like to the supermarket, for example. I hated people like staring at me. Like I wouldn't answer the door for a delivery, like anything like that. I was just completely away from it all. But I put all of my effort into trying to find a job, and I thought, because like pre-COVID as well, where working from home wasn't really a massive thing. I thought I just need something I can do that is like not around anyone else.
Yeah.
And I'd had so many no's that I kind of thought, what the fuck am I supposed to do?
What were, when you were applying for these jobs, and what was, and you got through the first door, what was kind of the feedback? When? you were told no?
So I had every excuse you can imagine. It would be dangerous. I would be too distracting. Like, people did not give a shit about telling me to my face that the tics were an issue. The worst I had, and I think I wrote about it before, and I called it like the 4-minute interview. Had an interview that I'd passed like aptitude tests for and stuff. It was a job I really wanted. Weirdly, was actually qualified for this one.
Well done.
Fucking hell. And I got invited to an interview, and I'd bypassed the first stage already based on the aptitude test and application. So I was like, oh, vibes. I was like, this is it.
Yeah.
Then thought, oh shit, I actually didn't put in any place that I had Tourette's, but I was like, it'll be fine. So interview was booked for an hour and a half with 4 of their fuck off cunts, 4 of the about right directors. And yeah, I met the receptionist. I'm pretty sure she thought I was like on meth or something when I first went in there, because she was like probably pretty close to like kicking me out. Fucking hell. But she was like weirdly rude, like right from the off. Walked me into the room, stayed in there, and then spoke about me and told them about my condition and noise, like while I'm still stood there.
Wow. Okay.
So then I tried to introduce myself, and they just like, my interview pack was literally on the table with my name like printed on it. They then had a conversation in front of me about me, and just told me there and then that I wouldn't be suitable for that position, but thank you for
like even before you've done.
But I literally hadn't answered a single interview question. Like, I was in there for out that hour and a half. I was in there for like 4 minutes, and they sent me out. I don't think I've ever felt that bad about something in my entire life.
I can't imagine, but in terms of the confidence aspect, and that's what you're kind of experiencing. How do you go away from an experience like that and then rebuild that confidence to go at it again?
So this particular day was the end of a very, very long string of me trying to get somewhere and get a knock back. And I think this had been so blatant and so obvious that I knew, like, you couldn't mistake what the reason what was. Do you know what I mean? Like, they literally told me to my face. So this was probably the darkest it got, because on that day, I'd got home and I then took an overdose and just tried to end my own life, because I thought, I've got no way of getting out of this. Fucking hell. No, like, there's no cure. Like, I can't do anything. And I think, fuck me, if I've got to this point where, oh, you're qualified for this job, you can do this, it'll be great, blah, blah, blah. But then they see you and they're like, actually, but because of that, no, you're not for us. I thought, how many times am I going to do this? And I just thought, I can't do it anymore. And I was absolutely I felt absolutely hopeless at the time. It wasn't until after that was where it kind of came from, the drive, that I thought, that I saw the impact it had on George, my family, my friends. I thought, you know what, I am never going to let myself or let anyone else get me to that point where I feel that bad again. And it was so slowly to build the confidence, but I thought, I'm going to have to find a way around, around finding work. And I had no idea what I was going to do, but I literally thought, fuck no, I'm going to do something.
There's a pattern here. Like, I'm just going to wing it.
We'll just wing it and see what welcome to my life. Yeah, like, I had no idea what I was going to do, but I thought, I'm going to do something. And that was the turning point for me. And to be fair, I don't know if I hadn't had that experience and it hadn't gone that far, and I hadn't seen the impact that my actions had had, I don't know what I would be doing now. I don't know if it would be, if I'd be doing the same, if I'd be doing like a different version, if I'd be working for someone else. But like, when I decided what I was going to do, like virtual personal assistants, initially, I only picked that based on the fact that I could work from home and I wouldn't have to speak to anyone.
Makes sense.
But that was like the very, very start of slowly building confidence. Yeah. Again, my confidence was still super low when I started doing what I was doing, but it was such a massive improvement on where I was, say, like 3 months before that.
So you've decided to kind of go down this route, which again is a bit of a twist in the road. And
As always.
As always. How did you get started in like I assume it was a brand new industry to you.
I literally didn't even know what it was a week before I decided to be one.
I kind of love that energy though, because I think it's so important. I go into universities and I speak to kind of a lot of students, and when I talk about my career and kind of how I've pivoted from like a geography degree to marketing and personal branding, they're like mind blown. And I'm like, you don't have to stick in a degree that you studied for 3 years because you didn't know what else to do, and then stick it in that thing for the rest of your
100%.
life. And so I think it's quite refreshing for you to say, I tried this, I did this, didn't work out, found this new thing that I had probably kind of no like set qualifications for, quote unquote.
But so much is like transferable, and I think that's where people mess up. Like they think I can only do this. Like I forgot to mention, but I actually, during working as an event manager, I went to uni and I did an events degree like alongside it and around it. But like I knew full well that the degree was in events, which, let's be fair, what was the point? But like I thought, I'm not staying in this industry. Like I knew full well I wasn't going to stay in that industry, but I thought so many of the skills are transferable. Like, and weirdly, like I use a lot of the skills I had then, like I use them now. But yeah, it literally was by chance. Oh, fuck you, dickheads, bitch. By chance that I found what a virtual personal assistant was just on Google when I was like searching things. Like I think I was like page like 15 on Google search. I'm like all these different jobs of like
you're in deep when you're on page 15.
I was like deep diving into what I could do. But yeah, I just thought I've got the skills to do this. I'll crack on. Made my so there was like loads of courses as well on offer for like how to do this, how to be this, blah blah blah. And there was one that was like, I think £450, and they would like give you your first 3 clients, like that kind of like I felt for that bullshit Instagram ad essentially. So George actually paid it for me because I had no income at this point whatsoever.
Just to clarify, George is your partner.
Yes.
For anyone who doesn't know.
Yeah, I don't have like a sugar daddy called George or something. So I started that course, and as I was like looking through it, it was just that typical thing of like kind of like a reflection of my entire career. I thought, like, this is bullshit. Like I know what I'm doing. Like I don't need somebody else to tell me. Like I'll do it. So I registered my business name. I made my own logo on Canva. Well, it makes me feel like actually sick.
Have you still got like?
I have.
You're gonna have to send it so I can put it in this podcast. We need a little pop up.
Honestly, it is. It's. So I was kind of going with like the most corporate vibe I could think of, which is how I ended up with the company name Manton Executives anyway, because I just thought, could it sound more corporate? Like now it's kind of like a complete different vibe. But I made my own website on Wix, which pretty much had no images except stock images. Was probably about, if you took all the wording out and put it on paper, would have probably been about 12 sheets of A4. Like so much wording. Like it was like text. It was like reading an essay. But I kind of tried to make it as professional and corporate and dull as possible, because I thought that's what people want.
Yeah.
And I started just like telling people about it like really slowly. Like I never had much of a presence on LinkedIn ever. And yeah, I like posted about it a few times, and I got some transcription clients, which, fucking hell. Like I was so appreciative of the work, but I will never transcribe another meeting, podcast, recording, disciplinary hearing, anything. I will never do it again. It was so stressful, like, and so long. So I can read something, and if I tick in the middle of it, it knocks my train of thought off. So trying to transcribe 4 people talking while ticking at the same time. And I was massively underquoting my work as well, because I thought, like, this might have taken me like 9 hours because of Tics, but if I didn't have Tics, it would have taken me 4, for example. So I was like, I'll just cut off that 5 hours and we'll just charge the 4.
Okay.
So I was like doing things like this, and then I thought I want more clients doing other things. So Lea Turner was like kind of growing on LinkedIn at this point. And I messaged her just by chance, and she replied, and I remember thinking like, oh, it's odd that she'd reply to me. But we got chatting, and she was like, "Oh yeah, I used to do transcription. I still do it on the side." Like she had a PA that took over that side of things. And yeah, she was like, "Oh, I've got a job that you might need help with. I might need help with. Can I give you a call?" And I was thinking like, "Shit, how am I going to get out of this phone call?" Because none of my clients that I had knew I had Tourette's. I'd managed to gain these clients without mentioning it, ever saying it, or ever meeting them or chatting to them other than email. And I was thinking for ages. I remember pacing my lounge talking to George, like, how am I going to get out of this fucking phone call? Like, oh, fucking hell. I was like, I can't hold things in that long. So I very, very nearly cancelled the call with Lea. And then I was going to be like, oh, don't worry about it. It's fine. But then I just told her I had Tourette's. And she was like, oh, yeah, that's fine. Like, this is the most natural thing in the world for her to hit here. We had this call, had a chat about it. And then that was it. We've literally spoken, I think, every single day since, and that was probably about nearly 3 years ago.
Wow.
Maybe a little longer.
One conversation.
And about a week later we were chatting, and Lea was like, you need to she was like, I think you should be yourself and tell people about Tourette's. She was like, tell them what you've told me, like educate them on it. Fucking hell. So I made like a video that was like 1 minute and 3 seconds long, I think, and worst bloody camera angle ever. I was filming from like here. I still watch it now and I'm like, oh Jesus, like lift. Fucking hell. So I made this video, posted it on LinkedIn, and I have been fully booked ever since. Ever since that video post, like my inbox flooded, and I've been fully booked to the waitlist ever since. Wow. So like, people really, really responded to it. And that whole process then of writing posts, making videos, sharing the ins and outs of Tourette's has changed my life entirely, because the confidence is exactly back where it used to be. Like my business is going well. I'm getting to meet people like almost daily, like new people. Do you know what I mean? And it's all from like, if I'd have never done that, like, I don't know what would have happened. I'd probably still be transcribing and doing things that are absolutely mind-numbing like that.
Yeah, that's amazing. I think there's so much power, because we've had Lea on the podcast, and she also talked about the power of just kind of showing up as yourself and giving no fucks about kind of what other people will think, or an aspect of your identity that isn't the norm, especially on like a corporate platform like LinkedIn as well. So I think it's really refreshing to see people just turn up, rock up, and be like, this is me, like it or lump it. And obviously it worked very well for you.
Thank God. If I'd have got one negative comment, I think I would have been like, absolutely not doing this. But it was like an absolute game changer for me, and I genuinely could not thank Lea enough. Like, we talk about it all the time, and she completely shrugs it off, because I know she gets emotional about it, and she's like, oh no, it was nothing to do with me, it was all you. And I'm like, we
love Lea. She's great. So that happened, that video kind of blew up. Then how from that one video to today, where you've got like a team around you, you've got an established brand, talk me through that intermediary phase. Like, how did you scale that brand visibility ultimately and turn it into a valid business?
So I kind of like, during these videos, would wear like brighter colors, and it was one comment on a video, and I can't remember which one, but weirdly, or who said it, but the comment stuck with me, and it was like, the way you look doesn't match your website. And I remember thinking like, oh yeah, that's right, it doesn't. So I was kind of like having a look around, and like, this was when it was still just me, like still just me in the.
Was this still the website with loads of text? Okay.
It was so bad, but because all the leads were coming through like LinkedIn and things, like I just almost like forgot about the website. It just became a thing that I had. It wasn't until people were like, "Oh, can we see the website?" I'd be like, "Oh, well, you could, but I'd prefer if you didn't." And I was like kind of looking through all these other websites, and I thought, you know what, I want it to be like brighter. And I decided on like pink. And I think I had the logo made first, and the logo's actually taken letters from my signature. I'd signed the form, and the designer took the M and the E from my
I love that.
So it's literally my signature is where the M and the E are from, and then kind of made it
That's so
into
cool.
this like pink and purple like 3D logo. And then based off the brand pack that they'd also done, I had the website made, and it was just so much fresher, so much more fun. And I kind of was at that point then where I thought, you know what, I don't mind showing people this.
This podcast is proudly sponsored by Fabric, a marketing training academy that runs a world-leading master strategy program for marketers looking to excel in their careers. The program teaches you frameworks that have been used by global brands and coaches you how to build a live marketing strategy in just 12 weeks. Now, I personally know many people who have completed Fabric's program and who have benefited directly, from getting promotions and accessing dream job roles to accessing increased marketing budgets and gaining the confidence to excel in their careers. Fabric is kindly offering listeners of this podcast 10% off their program so you can secure your place on it. For more information, check out the link in the bio. Use code REBELS10 in all capitals to claim the offer.
And I thought that was a massive turning point, because I thought it's so me. Whereas before I wouldn't have thought anything of like, oh yeah, I've got a shit website, but you know what I mean? Like, look at it if you want. But now I kind of had something I kind of wanted people to see. I'm like, oh, this is it. And it completely tied in with the image. So I was getting like, once I like started to share it more, talk about it more, oh, fuck off, dickheads, bitch. I was getting more inquiries, and I thought, I don't want to keep turning people down or adding them to a wait list. So I was like, I'm going to employ someone. Made the ultimate mistake initially of employing family. I hired my sister. Did not go well for me.
Sorry if your sister's watching this.
Oh, she knows. She knows she was not the one for that position. And people ask now, they're like, oh, is there any like animosity between you two? Was it awkward? Absolutely not. Like, it's still all chill vibes. She knew she was absolutely shocking at that job. So
Drag her.
Yeah.
Drag her.
But it is the running family joke that I did fire my sister. So so then I kind of thought like, right, I didn't want to hire someone completely random. I want someone that I want to work with. Because I had all these clients just waiting. I'd sent some to other people, but I thought I kind of want someone else. Like, I want to work with someone else. Like, now I'd got kind of grown in confidence and thought I don't want to hide away. It kind of would be nice to share the experience with someone. And working on your own is fucking boring. Like, when you do it for like, I think I'd probably done it for about a year and a half by this point.
Wow, okay.
And I thought like, I can bitch and moan at George about my job.
Poor George.
But I need someone who like gets it and understands and can like help and support.
Completely.
So I actually used to work with Katie. We did a temp job together years and years ago. And just by chance messaged her. I was like, hey, I was like, I hope you're okay. Do you hate your job?
Do you want to work with me?
And we were like, we'd always been good friends. And she thought I was joking at first. And she was like, oh, I would love to. I was like, well, let's just do it. And we did. And Katie's been with me like ever since. And then, same thing happened. We'd kind of just kept going, kept growing, had more people added to the waiting list. Then we brought in Jane. And originally just before we brought in Jane, Katie and I were working from home. It was completely virtual. And then we had a big project where, fuck off, we had to build a course for a client. So we spent 3 weeks working together at my house. And at the end of that 3 weeks, I was like thinking, I didn't say anything at the time. I was thinking like, oh, I kind of don't want to go back to working on my own. Like, I like having Katie here. Yeah. And then she said to me, she was like, I don't want this to sound bad. She was like, but can I just come back here next week? She was like, because I kind of preferred working with
house.
Yeah. So I had an office in my house. So when we decided we were going to hire the next person, which turned out to be Jane, I was like, I'm impulsive anyway, but I was like, let's have a look at a few offices in Cheltenham. This was on the Wednesday. By Friday, I heard sign the lease and we're moving in on the weekend.
My commitment, she could not.
And then we did interviews in the new office when we had, I think there was a desk and 3 chairs in there. That was it. Absolutely nothing else in this huge space. I was like, it's fine. It's like a vibe. We'll just reassure them that there will be furniture when they work there. And yeah, like the same things happen again. We just keep building, growing, hired someone new. We've now moved offices to like a nicer office, a bigger office, and it's kind of just growing. And I think we could technically do the same again, but I think I need a little break.
A little bit of stability. It's amazing though that the kind of transformation. I know that's like a bit of a cringy word, like the transformation, but you've like you have had that. Like I can't think of a better way to describe it. And not just in your business, but also like your confidence. And
fucking hell.
I obviously didn't know you in that time period when it wasn't great. And obviously I know you now from speaking to you, working with you, seeing you online. Like I can't even imagine like me
being that different.
Yeah, being that different and not having that confidence to kind of come out as authentically you. So that's amazing to see. And also with LinkedIn, because again, recurring theme for myself, for quite a few of our guests, is LinkedIn's been like a real game changer. In what way would you say it's helped your business?
So not only has it been the perfect platform for me to kind of like unintentionally spread my business and what I do, it's kind of been perfect for me to teach people about what Tourette's is, and in turn grow in confidence. And I know that sounds a bit cringy, but that kind of change in confidence has allowed me to do so much more business wise. Like now I've done like I spoke at like international conferences and stuff like that, and like it's all kind of like they've then advertised my business for me and things. And I thought if I didn't have LinkedIn to like kind of build that confidence and be that like integral part of like the overall plan, then I never would have done that. And it's odd to think I literally used to say LinkedIn was like the shit version of Facebook. I'm pretty sure I actually wrote that as a Facebook status once.
Wow. We all wrote some dodgy Facebook statuses, didn't we, back in the day? No, I think, like again, with previous guests, we've talked about how transformative it can be as a platform, and how fast it's changed as well in the last 6 months alone. The platform has grown so much. But with that, as platforms increase in popularity, and also on top of that the platform changes and the demographic of people and what the freedoms people think they have on a platform like that also changes, and the rule book kind of goes out of the window. How's your experience been with that? Because showing up as yourself and being quite, I'd say, disruptive to a corporate professional platform, I imagine that ruffled a few feathers.
It did, and I've definitely ruffled a few feathers before and people, like, what surprises me there is when you get fucking corporate Colin who's stuck in this job.
Corporate Colin, Lea literally used the exact same phrase on her episode.
It's our LinkedIn polite way of saying massive twat.
Yeah.
But like I'll get people calling me out, and like people are right that like you're not suited to be in a professional environment. Fucking hell, bollocks, cunt. Like I don't want to see this, I don't want to hear this. And quite frankly, like I'm confident enough in myself to like genuinely not give a shit. Like this is the way business is going. Business is being run by real people, and people are happy. Like, and I think that's what the biggest change has been on LinkedIn in the last 6 months. Like people are being more authentic, showing up as themselves, and it's kind of nice to see that normal people. This isn't just like grey suits, head down, dedicated. Normal people can run a company. Like, I'll be open and honest about running a company. Like, I didn't know what the fuck I was doing. I still have days where I'm like, what the fuck is this? Or I like Google about 15 things in one day. Yeah. Like, and there's still things I don't know, and I don't proclaim to know it all. Like, yeah, it's working. I probably could be doing things better, and I'll get there. But it's kind of nice to know that like real people are running these companies. So all that kind of negative stuff aside and ruffling feathers, like I don't give a shit.
I think it's so comforting also when like you hear other business owners speak about the fact that actually I don't really know what I'm doing. Because for me, when I first started, I genuinely didn't have a fucking clue. Like Fiona Bradley, one of my friends at the time, became like an unofficial mentor. She was like, "Shoaib, like if you don't register your business, you're gonna break the law." And I was like, "I don't know how to do it. Please help me. Like I don't know how to pay taxes or anything. someone help me. And I was like, at the beginning, I had a service, which is probably kind of what you thought at the time. Like you could do the job that people needed doing.
Yeah.
But that's very different to running a business to provide that service.
Yeah.
I feel like a lot of people don't make that distinction and think it's going to be such an easy jump. Like if I can do social media marketing well, then that doesn't necessarily mean you can automatically run a social media agency
or
hiring people, finances,
doing your accounts, like your own marketing, your own planning, your own strategy. Like I still don't have a fucking clue. Genuinely, like I'm good at what I'm good at, but I am not afraid to admit when there's something I don't know and genuinely ask someone for help. Like I probably say, like, whisper what the fuck to myself about 100 times a day, because things come up every day, and it's not like every now and then I think, I still don't know what I'm doing. Like things happen every day. I think we've got it's probably about 56 clients that we do different things for.
Wow, that's a lot of clients.
Yeah. so now there's constantly platforms and things that I'm not using. So but we'll just work it out. Like you cannot know everything, and like that's the actual job. But then on the flip side, that business, like I have such a good accountant. I have like a business mentor. I have Lea, who I pretty much chew Lea's ear off daily because I'm like, what the fuck am I doing? But it's going well, and I think if you're good at what you're good at and you're willing to learn the rest of it, like you can do it. Like it's not impossible. It's not easy, but it's not impossible.
I think that's really good advice for any like young people.
Oh,
I say young people as if I'm like ancient, but I feel like my business has aged me by like 10 bloody years.
Internally 65.
Yeah, internally I'm ready to retire. But no, I think that's really good advice, because a lot of people like even reach out to me or like people in my network and ask like, how did you do it? Like what did you do? What's like this process? And I'm like, there isn't one.
Yeah.
There literally isn't a process. I quit my job. I announced I was going freelance on LinkedIn. I started posting a lot of shit. I was probably posting a lot of shit content at the time as well.
We've all been there.
And like my service is content as well. And I was like, some of my content was shit. Like, but if you don't do it, if you don't actually put yourself out there, then it's never going to get any better.
Yeah. And
then when you create obviously great case studies and deliver results, it just has like a snowball effect. And suddenly you wake up one day and you're like, oh, this is fun. I don't know how I got here, but I'm here now. So it's a vibe.
But when I find this as well, like a lot of people ask you like, oh, what is the journey? What's the steps you've taken? Yeah. And it is like, the reality of it is, unless you have someone guiding you every step of the way, it is just trial and error. Like I've done things that haven't worked and I've just changed and done something else.
Yeah.
But I didn't have someone for the whole thing to just tell me you need to do this, and this.
Yeah.
Like you just have to work it out. And it is stressful and it is shit sometimes, but you just got to do what you've got to do.
Got to do. I feel like this is great for advice. It's the vibe. Just go for it. Do what you got to do.
Someone's going to massively fuck up their career taking my advice.
What would you say has been like the biggest thing you've learned in the entire process?
Funnily enough, I've learned that I'm capable of doing a lot more than I would have given myself credit for. Like even now talking about my old job roles, I did well, but I was still like, I wasn't qualified for them, probably wasn't the best at them. In reality, if I was as bad as I thought I was at the time, I would have been fired. Do you know what I mean? Like I learn quickly and I'm capable. And if I wasn't any good at my job, I wouldn't have clients that I've had for over 2.5 years. Do you know what I mean?
Exactly.
Like I've still got a set of 4 of my original clients from the first time I made that LinkedIn video to now, and I've still got the same ones.
That's insane. That's actually mad.
It's crazy, isn't it? But like I think, that's probably my biggest lesson. I'm a lot more capable than I give myself fucking hell credit for.
Yeah. Also, a bit of a segue here. You were also on the TV, on the television. Talk to us about how all that came about.
So I was a guest on the Waffle Shop podcast, and we were talking about tics and things, and I said, which people find odd, I said I don't tic when I sing.
Right.
And I said it would be a cute story if I didn't sound shit when I sang.
Okay.
A producer then messaged me from this TV show, Anyone Can Sing. Sky Arts, watch it. And they were like, we're taking people who can't sing and teaching them to sing. Originally, it was going to be Anyone Can Sing Country. And I was like, to me, I think I do quite like country music. I'm not allowed to play it in the office though, because it irritates the girls. But but I thought, do you know what? It might be quite fun. At first, I was like, absolutely not. But then, with some talking to from these producers, they were like, yeah, meet us, and we will. It then changed to Anyone Can Sing Opera, which for me, opera is like the exact opposite of anything I'm into. I would listen to, just not my vibe. But went along to this day, had the weirdest experience, and then I'd never sang in front of anyone. I'd never done karaoke. Keep in mind, my confidence had only just kind of like got back to where it needed to be, and I had to walk into this huge room with, I think it worked out there were 22 people in the room, and I had to step onto the stage and sing a song that they'd assigned me like 3 days before. Like, no backing music, just a microphone, just me.
How was that?
I think if I had left the show at that point and not done anything else, like, it would have genuinely been worth it, because like I thought I would have never done this, let alone like when I was struggling with tics and Tourettes and stuff. Even before that, I thought I would have never done it. So it kind of just was that point of like showing me how far I'd got. And then it was performance after performance. And I think so. I sang the national anthem at the start of the NFL game with Catherine Jenkins in front of...
All right, let me just pick up that name off the floor.
63,500 people in the stadium, and it was broadcast live. And then I sang at the London Coliseum.
So you can sing now.
I can sing
maybe
opera.
You could always sing.
To be with me, I think it was more of a thing as well of like wouldn't sing rather than couldn't sing, which is what they kept saying to me, and it was kind of like pushing me to admit that you could sing, and they were like, that confidence will... I still wouldn't say I'm the best singer, but I can hold a note.
After this, I'm gonna make you sing for me. Amazing. Like, again, like from the person you described and like the lack of confidence, and then singing in front of that many people and
the weirdest experience of my life.
It's amazing. Would you want to do more of that in the future?
I think I actually would. Like, a surprisingly large amount of work goes into filming a TV show like that. That I definitely underestimated the amount of effort and work I would need to put in. But I think I would do something like that again. You just get the opportunity to do things that you would never get to do. Like, I'm literally walking on the pitch to launch an NFL game with Catherine Jenkins, and I'm about to sing in front of like thousands of people. Like, do you know what I mean? Like, when would that ever happen to a normal person? And even after that, for like the game and things, for like the NFL, was then given like the Sky box to like watch from and things, and it was just the weirdest experience. But I would definitely do something like that again. It's just it's absolutely worth it for the experiences you get.
And George was a key person in that entire process, wasn't he?
So like part of this, the narrative they made for me around the show, which I get was kind of based off what I said. Like, it's still, they've definitely taken like
marketable, right?
creative license with it, was that I wanted to sing to George because George can sing incredibly well, and I was kind of like,
who's better?
Well, now I'd have to say me. No, George could always sing incredibly well, and I kind of wanted to just do something for him, and like, and they kind of like took the story and ran with it, and we did this proposal thing, and it was so cringy. It was cute, and it was sweet, but I think if I could have done one bit differently, it probably would have been like, I would have just toned that down slightly. But you have to, I think when you do anything TV wise, and I've done different interviews for shows since, and I've had a few requests for different shows, I think you have to be so careful with what they're like, what they're going to do with that like creative license they're given, because The other thing about that TV show as well, which is probably why I'm like, there's always like a little twinge of negativity, bollocks, shit. And people don't actually realize until I point out they actually edited out all of my tics, every single one.
Oh wow, really?
Yeah. So there's a lot of points where people are talking and I don't say a word in it, but I'm in the background, and it's because they've just cropped me. It's not like dipped or beat. Fucking hell, it's just cut.
How does that make you feel?
At the time, I was so angry, and like I get why they did it, but if the show was more popular, I probably would have been more bothered. But nobody really watched it. So who wins?
I love this like brutal honesty.
But yeah, like I think if I didn't have the level of confidence I had, I probably would be bothered by that. Kind of ties into this narrative around like getting people to fit a certain mold and fit a certain box. That's never going to be me. And if they want to push this fake persona of what it's really like to have Tourette's, which kind of what I wanted to show, then let them. I'll just find a way to undo it.
Yeah, I mean that's the power of like your brand, I guess. Like you're in control of what you share online.
Yeah, absolutely.
And I know you do that on LinkedIn quite a bit. As you mentioned, and I think there's so much power in that, whatever is part of your identity, you know, whatever makes you different, but actually shining a light on that instead of trying to conceal it and fit in with the crowd, because there's so much power in that. Like I look at other creators on any social media platform now, and I think people really crave, like, again, the word authentic is a bit like, I feel a bit weird saying that word because it's overused, it's a bit of a buzzword. But before, it was like aspirational influencers, right? Everybody would follow people they wanted to be like, but deep down they couldn't be like, right? And now people like love creators who are just so relatable, or they're just honest, and they're just like,
fucking hell,
just say it how it is.
Yeah.
I think you kind of fit into that category where you not only like entertain people through the way you write and talk, but also like people can actually learn a lot. Like I have learned so much about Tourette's just through you. Which is insane when you think about it. Like, I didn't really know fully what it was apart from the stereotypes or like
the movie Tourette's.
The movie Tourette's or what you see on TV or like that really poor, very kind of problematic representation.
Yeah.
So I'm assuming that's something you're really conscious about whenever you post about.
Yeah, and I think it's like I work a lot with Tourette's charities now, and like I support a lot of parents of children with Tourette's. Because there's not like a real role model for kids with Tourette's. Like I was told by a neurologist, for example, like here's a list of the benefits you can claim. Don't start your own business. It's too stressful. Do this. And I think if you're, say a neurologist is in a position of power and they're telling someone a lot younger than me and a lot more impressionable than me that you're never going to be able to do anything but claim what's on this list, who are they going to listen to? Do you know what I mean?
Yeah.
So it's about like changing that whole thing. And I think, like I know Tourette's is like the punchline in movies, and to be fair, I'm not really that mad about it because there is a funny side to it, and I think I would rather it highlight the funny side of it than just not at all.
Then erase it.
Yeah, then I'm happy to also fill in that gap of the reality of what fuck off what it's like.
Love that. Where can people find you?
LinkedIn. Obviously. And yeah, so we've just actually started to plan out our new Manton Executive Instagram.
Love that.
So we'll be sharing more of like Tourette's content on there. And I have also just started a TikTok page that I will be using more called TikTok. Pardon that pun.
What a good name! What a good name! I was actually going to ask, are you on TikTok? Because there's an opportunity there, branding wise.
Yeah. Got it covered in the pipeline.
Amazing. And business wise, if people want to work with you, what can you offer them?
So any virtual personal assistants, there's a range of things covered. We basically say if you can do it on a laptop, we can do it for you.
Sounds handy.
Yeah. So visit the website, submit.
Amazing.
Submit the form, job done.
And final question, because I ask every guest who comes on the podcast, the question goes,
fucking up.
What is an opinion, belief, view that you hold that could potentially get you cancelled?
So I don't know about cancelled for the masses, but there's definitely people I know that are guilty of this. I do not think, and I think more people should be called out for it, selling a service they are not good at. Like, don't tell me you can take over my Instagram, get me leads, followers, and things when you've got 200 followers yourself. Same goes with LinkedIn. If you're not doing it yourself, don't sell it as a service.
Okay.
Said what I said.
You said what you said.
Some people listening to this thinking, oh, shit.
I'm thinking, oh, shit, is that my service? Is he outing me? But no, thank you so much for coming on the podcast.
Thank you very much for having me.
Thank you so much for taking the time out of your day to listen to Rebels podcast with me, Shoaib Ahmed. If you've been watching us on YouTube, don't forget to like and subscribe. And if you've been listening to us on Apple Podcasts or Spotify, then please give us a 5-star rating and a follow. The more successful this podcast gets, the bigger and better guests we can have on in the future. Thank you.